Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, welcome. I upload 2 times a week, every Monday and Thursday. I do beauty videos like this. I just teach you how to do makeup. It's just chill, it's fun, it's relaxed. So don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you, I'm just going to be reviewing the Rodan & Field's Radiant Defense Perfecting Liquid Foundation. I really like this foundation, and I also just show you how I contour and bronze my face. I show you how to use this foundation in 2 different techniques with a beauty blender and a brush. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Okay, so for the first step, what I do is I just use my Rodan & Field's Radiant Defense Perfecting Liquid in this shade Shell. This is what it looks like up close. I really like this foundation, and it's actually pretty big. Like, I didn't expect it to be this big. And then here's the lid, and then it's just like a squeeze bottle, but it works just fine. I really like it. And okay, so to put this on my face, first I just shake this up really good. And then what I do is I just like squirt it directly on my face. Since this is just mine, it doesn't really matter if I touch it to my face or not. But if you are sharing this with anybody else, I would recommend to not put it directly on your face with this. But you can do whatever you want. So I just squirt it on like this. And I don't use that much. I'm just making lines on my face like this. So that's like all that I put on my face right there. It's not a lot at all. At least in my opinion it isn't. So then I just take my Morphe x Jaclyn Hill JH03 foundation brush. And you can get this at Ulta. It comes in it's like a face makeup brush collection. And it comes, I believe it comes with all of these brushes right here. I got the Master Brush collection, so I have all the eye brushes and all the face brushes. And I know that the Master Brush collection comes with some extra brushes, but I'm just not sure which ones are the extra ones, and if there's any extra face brushes. I'm not positive on that. This brush is also sold separately on Morphe.com, and I will have the link in the description box below. So to blend out this foundation, first I just stipple it like this. And I like to work in like sections, so I do my cheek, then I do my forehead, then I do like this side of my face, so I just go like this. And then I just buff it in my skin. And I use circular motions to help everything go on evenly and just make sure that there's no like brush marks in my foundation. And you do not have to wet this brush before you blend your foundation in. At least I don't. I don't like to. You can if you want, but the only time I would probably wet this brush before I blend out my foundation is if I used a stick foundation, just because stick foundations are not like 100% wet like this. So I feel like they would need a little bit more like of a damp brush to blend them out. And then if you need a little bit more coverage in an area, because it just like is a little bit more red or anything like me, like right here I need a little bit more coverage, so I just stipple my brush like this. It just helps put that foundation right where you want it. Okay, so like right here on me, for some reason it never sticks with foundation, like this area. So what I do is I just get a little bit of foundation on my finger, that's barely anything, and then I apply it with my finger right there, because I have found that like for some reason if I like, if there's a spot that just won't stick with the foundation for some reason, and so I get a little bit more and I use it with the brush, that part will stick, but then the foundation that was already on around that area, like, goes away. So I just use my finger, and for some reason it just works way better. Yeah, so this is what the foundation looks like on me. I feel like it looks flawless. It makes my skin look healthy and nice, and I like how it like dries down really nicely, even though it still has that like nice like dewy sheen to it. It still dries down nice and smooth. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do your foundation using the Rodan foundation with a beauty blender. Now, you can use this beauty blender. It's just a classic tear-shaped. It's nice for your under eyes. It goes good on your face. But I prefer to use this one. Now, this is just like a flat-ended one. So it has a flat end and then it has kind of like a rounded end, but it's like flat on one side. I prefer to use this, but you can use this as well. So I'm just going to show you how to use this because you can just use this the same way. But this is the one that I like to use the most. So first, I just take the Rodan foundation, and again, I just give it a good shake. Okay, and then I just put some on my face, just like this. And again, I don't put that much on my face just because a little bit does go a long way. And I do put a little bit more like right in this area because this is where I have the most issues with my foundation not sticking right there. So I just put a little bit extra right there. And then I just take my beauty blender, and I like to kind of pinch it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And then I just start pressing it into my skin. And I do not have a face primer. I will probably eventually have one. I just don't have one right now because they're kind of expensive, and yeah, I don't know why I don't have one. But my mom likes to use the TooFaced, it's like the hangover primer, and it works really good. It perfects her skin. It makes her skin look extra smooth, and her foundation just sits on her skin perfectly with that primer. And so I just press it into my skin like this, and I don't swipe it on or anything. I just press it on, and by pressing it on with a beauty blender, it does help give you a little bit extra coverage in some places, and it also helps pick up any extra foundation that you might have. So if you tend to get like too much foundation, then the beauty blender will help absorb any extra foundation that you might have. But you do have to be kind of careful because you can get your foundation to be kind of cakey with a beauty blender. That's why it's best to go in with a little bit and then just add on if you need a little bit more coverage in some places. And I do recommend to wet your beauty blender before you use it, because it'll just help your foundation blend out better. It'll look more flawless on your skin, and it will help your beauty blender not absorb as much product. So you don't want it to absorb a ton, just a little bit. Okay, so now I kind of need a little bit more coverage like on my cheeks right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some small dots right there. And then I'm just going to blend that in. Now, I have found that if you add more foundation on like this with a beauty blender, your foundation is more likely to pick up. So like what you have on underneath what you're putting on, it might pick up a little bit. So just be careful with that, and you just want to work quickly. If you add on any foundation in any areas, you just want to work quickly so that you don't pick up foundation. And then I just like to pat it down my neck a little bit just to make sure that there's not any lines. And I'm not adding any foundation onto this. I'm just taking whatever this has on it and just lightly pressing it on. Okay, so now for the concealer. I do not like to use a beauty blender for this concealer just because this is a dry formula and it's extremely hard to blend out with a beauty blender. So I do just use my JH08 brush for this. This is a concealer brush just to blend this out. And I just apply this under my eyes like this. And I do try to get it pretty close to my eye just so that, because it's kind of hard to blend out like I said, and I just don't want to have to work too hard and just like mess up my eye makeup. Okay, so now to blend this out, I'm just taking the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, and I'm just going to mist the brush so that it's damp and it will help the concealer blend out 100 times easier. And I just blend this out using circular motions so that there's no brush lines and so that it just blends out flawlessly into my foundation. Then when I get to like the edge of my concealer, I just kind of do lines like this and just kind of like whisk it out so that it just blends nicely into my foundation. And just make sure when you blend out your concealer that you don't get your brush too wet with the setting spray, because then you will definitely have streaks in your concealer and that is not good. Okay, so I'm going to set my face, and to do that I'm just going to use my Rodan Fields Mineral Foundation in the shade Light. This is what it looks like. And then this is what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so I just like to use my JH07 brush. This is just to set your under eye area, and I'm just going to dip into that light powder and then just set my under eyes. And I like to set my foundation with this mineral foundation just because it helps even out my skin tone, and it just gives me just that little bit more coverage, just so that my skin does look more perfected and just more flawless without having a ton of product on your skin. And then I also like to set my nose with this. And the center of my eyebrows, I just kind of whisk it out like this, kind of like the center of my forehead gets set too. Then I just set my upper lip and my chin. Okay, so now I just take my JH01 brush, and just this really big fluffy brush, and I just set the rest of my face. Now I start with just like pressing this into my skin so I don't move around any of the foundation, and then I just blend it using circular motions to make sure everything is nice and evenly set. And I do go over my under eye area just to make sure that there's no like one spot with a ton of powder that's just sitting there. And I do not like to use a ton of powder to set my face just because I don't want to look really dry and super matte. But I do use more of a radiant setting spray, so if you don't like to look super matte, but you do tend to get oily throughout the day like me, I would probably recommend using a more kind of like a radiant setting spray. I know there's the MAC Fix Plus, I think that's more of a radiant setting spray, and there's the Morphe setting spray. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my JH06 brush and just the powder foundation in the shade medium, and I'm just taking the slightest bit of this on the brush, and I'm just going to lightly dust this on my face just to add in a little tiny bit of color and just warmth back into my skin, because the light color, just because the light foundation tends to wash me out a little bit, and I just need a little bit extra warmth in my skin. And this is not deepening my skin tone or anything. This is just adding just that little bit of warmth that I need. Okay, so I'm just taking my JH01 brush again and just blending over my skin just to make sure that everything is nice and evenly set and there's not one spot with a lot of extra powder sitting on my face. Okay, so now it's time to bronze the face. And so to bronze my face, I'm just using my TooFaced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer. And this is just a light matte bronzer. It does add warmth to my skin. And now this is for light skin tones like me. I don't know what this shade name is exactly called. I feel like it might be just milk chocolate. So milk chocolate matte. I feel like that might be the name, but I'm not positive at that. Now this is just the lightest bronzer that I could find of this. So this is what it looks like. And then I'm just going to apply that on my face using my JH02 bronzer brush. And I will link the brush collection that I'm using down below. And you can get the face brushes together at Ulta. And then I know if you just want like a couple brushes from the collection that I'm using, you can buy them separately on Morphe.com. I will link that in the description box as well. And so I just kind of go like this. And I just apply my bronzer like this at first, and I blend it upwards. You don't want to blend your bronzer down because then your face is just going to get like pulled down and you're not going to highlight your like cheekbones and everything the way you want to. And if you have like a line of foundation right here ever, just go in with your bronzer and just lightly apply that to your hairline, and that will just help hide your foundation line. I like to do that just because it does help add warmth to my skin and just to my face. It makes everything look even, and it just like hides that foundation line if I ever have it. But if you don't like having that like bronzer right there, by all means you don't have to do that. Just use like a skin tone powder to blend it right there, or you can just go in with a towel and just go like this. I don't prefer to do that, but you can do that if you want to. So now I'm just going to contour, and to contour I'm going to use my JH05 brush, and I'm going to use the Morphe 39A Dare to Create eyeshadow palette face powders. I'm just going to use this shade right here, and this is called Sculpt. I'm just taking this shade right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly tap in it just like this, just like if this was the pan, if my hand was a pan, I'm just going like this just once, and I'm just going to tap the brush off like this. And I just like to run my finger over the brush just to make sure there's no extra product at all, and it doesn't like make you just look super chiseled, because I don't like that. I like a soft contour, you know what I mean? Okay, so then I just take the edge of my bristles like this where I picked up that product, and I just go like this. Now, as you can see, I'm just using like this part of the brush right here. I'm not using any of this because I like to use this to like blend it out for me. And so I'm just using circular motions like this, and I start up here because this is where I want the most of my product to be, and then I just blend it downwards. And then once I'm done applying it, I just go like this, and I just lightly blend it like that. And that just looks very, very beautiful and just blended, and it doesn't look super, super harsh. And then just to make sure my face does look even, I just apply a tiny, tiny bit of this in my hairline where I applied that bronzer, just so that everything looks even. And then I go in with my JH01 brush again, and I just go over the areas that I bronzed and contoured just real quick to make sure that there is nothing too crazy, and it just picks up any extra powder that I have just sitting on my face. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some blush, and to do so I'm going to use my Found Cosmetics Baked Illuminating Blush in the shade 60. Now I do believe this is a dupe for the Hourglass blushes, and I do really like this blush. It's only $8 and I got it at Walmart. And it's just a really nice peachy color, and I do not like a super harsh blush, and so this is not like super harsh. It's just like a soft, nice tint color. So what I do when I apply this is I just start off by just pressing it on, and then I lightly blend it. I'm not blending it up here, I'm blending it right here, just because this is a highlighting area and I do not want to get any blush in the highlighted area, because then it's just gonna mess with your highlight color. And I really like this blush because it is like a slightly illuminated, so it does just have the slightest bit of shine, which helps blend in the bronzer with the, like, just helps transition my highlight into my bronzer and contour very nicely. Now I'm just going to go in back in with my bronzer brush and just kind of go over where I bronzed my face, just to make sure that my blush and my bronzer are blended effortlessly together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my Becca Pressed Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Moonstone, and this is what I like to use to highlight my face on a daily basis. This is just a super beautiful highlighter, and it doesn't accentuate your texture, at least it doesn't accentuate my texture. And so this is what it looks like swatched on the hand. I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but this is what it looks like. And this is a very buildable highlighter, which I like. So you can just apply a little bit of it if you just want a nice soft highlight, but the more you apply, the more like shiny, I guess, it gets. And I really like that. So this is just with a little bit, just with one layer, and you can see it does just have a little bit of sheen to it, and it's just like very natural and very beautiful. I like to apply a little bit more, just like this, and then I blend around my eyebrow just a little bit, so I feel like that just highlights my skin, my face very nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of that same highlight, and I'm just putting that on the tip of my nose, and just in the center of my nose as well. Just for a nice soft highlight, and everything looks even, so the side of my face is not just super matte. I'm also going to put a little bit of this on my Cupid's bow. Then I also just put a little tiny bit right above my eyebrows, just because I feel like it just complements my face nicely. Okay, so this is the face makeup all complete. I think it looks really beautiful, and everything just looks like it goes together nicely. Now just real quick, I'm going to take my blush brush one more time, and I'm just going to kind of like press and just kind of blend over my blush to make sure everything is nice and blended together. And okay, so now I'm just going to set my face with the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, just like this. I just like to get it nice all over my face. And then I just take my beauty blender. Now I do have a couple of these. I'm just going to take whichever one that I have, but I did not use to apply my foundation, and I'm just pressing it into my skin. Now by pressing this into your skin, it does help just make your face not look super powdery, and it just helps blend your it helps make the powder on your face just like melt into your skin and just look a lot more natural. Okay, so this is the finished makeup right here. I think the skin looks very nice. It just, here I'll zoom you in. So this is what my face looks like up close. My skin looks super beautiful, looks soft, it just looks flawless. I do really like this foundation a lot. Everything is just super just like perfect. It makes my skin look awesome. It makes my pores not look super like accentuated at all, and I really like that. Okay, if you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up and comment down below on what you would like to see next. I do know that I am going to be getting the James Charles X Morphe palette. I'm hopefully going to get it on Friday when it comes into Ulta. I'm not sure if they're going to have it out or not because they're normally not the best about having that stuff out on time, but hopefully I will have it for next week's videos. I know I'm going to be doing a couple of looks with that. I know I'm going to be doing like a colorful look, so I'm probably going to do like I'm thinking about doing like a blue and green look on this side, like a red and yellow and orange look on this side, and then just to show you guys, compare them and just switch like 2 videos in one. And then I'll also be doing a video on like more of the neutral shades in the palette. I'll be doing swatches, I'll demo it, I will tell you my 100% honest opinion since I am buying the palette with my own money. So I'm very, very, very excited about that launch. So yeah, and thank you guys so much for watching. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And don't forget to hit that bell icon right next to the subscribe button when you subscribe so you don't miss any time that I upload, so you see all my awesome videos. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye!